about things. We just want to educate you guys about ThinkSabio and what the goals are for this and how you can utilize this website. It's a powerful tool. It analyzes stocks. So we just want to go through everything. And today we're gonna be splitting this course over 4 sessions, including it's gonna be on the weekends and it's gonna be the same time. It's gonna be today, November 18th, tomorrow, November 19th, and November 25th and November 26th. So it'll be 4 sessions.
Yeah, so as we said, we'll be giving certificates, but for all the 4 meetings, the attendance is mandatory in order to get the certificate. And as we said, we'll start at 7 o'clock consistently, and the session won't go over 45 minutes maximum.
Yeah. So just to give a quick introduction on what is ThinkSabio. ThinkSabio is just a website. It's a stock informative tool, and you can actually invest your money in ThinkSabio. It's not like Robinhood. It's not like Fidelity where you can invest. It's just where you can see the data. So all these big institutions like JP Morgan Chase, Blackford, all these big institutions, they have to submit their data to the SEC, right? So when they submit their data to the SEC, we take all that data and then we organize it in an easy way, in an easy structure, so you can see it and understand it.
Yeah, so what is our mission? Like, what are we trying to get out of this? So basically, what we plan on doing is we're trying to educate as many kids as possible in like financial literacy. There's many kids around here that haven't started, investing yet, but it's best to start from a young age. So what our plan is, we're trying to get it started as early as possible and give this website out to as many high schoolers, as many middle schoolers, as many elementary schoolers as possible, because the website is free for anyone that's still attending school. So that's what our whole plan is. We want to just give it out to as many kids as possible, and these sessions are to, once we give it out, to educate them on how to actually use it and how to actually apply it to a real world situation, how to invest with it.
Yeah, I just want to say, it's not just applicable to the United States. It also works in India. Just want to thank everyone coming in, waking up in the morning from India. But it also works in India. There's also Indian stocks and all the data there, so you can kind of use that, and you can use the same. It's just the same thing in this country. It's just going to be used in that country. So it's the same thing essentially, but can be used anywhere. And yeah, so we're just going to go over what we're going to do in this course. So the first session today, we're not going to go into the website, but we're going to go into the stock fundamentals, explain, the basics of the stock. And if you want, and we're going to go over how you can join as an intern. So if you have intern interest, then we can give you a form towards the end of this course. And then, yeah, for the second session, we're going to explore the ThinkSabio feature. So we're going to actually go into the website and explore, each feature, how you can use it, how to utilize that. And then same with the third session, we're just going to be continuing that, expanding on that, and then going into the depth. And then for the last session, we're going to finish exploring, and we're also going to go over potential applications and utility.
Yeah, so we're gonna go into a slideshow. We'll be showing the basics and the fundamentals of the stock market. So if you guys have any questions, just ask to unmute, and we'll be there to answer them. So yeah, this is the crash course to the stock market. So we're gonna explain to you guys how to basically make your money work for you and how to invest. And yeah, let's just get straight into it.
Yeah, so what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to talk about the fundamental thing. What is a stock? Just to know about, if you wanna go into stocks and all you have to know what the idea of a stock market is. We're going to go over some important terms. We're going to give you some examples of successful investors and how and which resources to utilize.
Yeah, so first we're going to be saying, what is a stock? So this is the most basic term that you'll be learning. So what is a stock? It's owning a share or a small part of a company. And it's for you and other investors. They will share the profits of the company. So if the company makes money, then you will share part of it, such as the part that you own. And if the company loses money, then you will also lose the money.
Yeah. So here are a couple of terms to know. So there's assets, liabilities, debt, credit, volume, portfolio, sectors, supply and demand, hedge funds, financial institutions. And these are all terms that are like common knowledge. If you actually want to go into stocks and go into the stock market, and these are terms that you should be familiar with and understand how these works. And you may know some of them, like credit, debit, volume, portfolio, but we're just going to dive into them a little bit more.
Yes, and as we go deeper and deeper into the sessions, we'll be introducing more terms. We might not give formal definitions, but we'll be able to explain it to you in the website and the usage of it. So first one we're going to be going over is volume and portfolio. So what is a portfolio actually? It's a complete collection of your financial investments. So in ThinkSabio, we'll have a real portfolio where you can simulate your portfolio that you have, for example, invested into a real account, for example, Robinhood or Fidelity, where you actually put your money. We'll have a real portfolio where you can simulate that same and get the statistics from ThinkSabio. We'll also have a virtual portfolio, which is basically a stock simulator, and we'll give you $10,000 of paper money. Stock simulator is basically, you know, you have fake money, but you get to steal real experience of the stock market. So what is volume? So volume is the total amount of shares that is bought or sold over a period of time by you. So if you want to see your volume for a year, it'll show you the amount of shares that you've bought or sold, and you can break it down by company or by certain sector and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what are sectors? So there's 12 sectors in the entire stock industry, and it just classifies stocks. These are industries that are defined by similar businesses or interests, and there's a total of 12, as I said. So there's such as like healthcare, you know, and all these sectors they should be diversified in your portfolio. You can't go heavily you can't heavily go in too much into one sector. So the next one, what is supply and demand? You might have heard this before, but it's just a relationship between the amount produced and the amount desired needed by the customer. So if there's higher supply, there'll be less demand, and they just go hand in hand.
So what is assets and liabilities? So what is an asset? An asset is something that has economic value, so such as cash, if you have money, a share of a company, such as a stock, or a house. So these are things that, you know, you're gaining. They're things that you have economic value and that they give you a plus. What is a liability? A liability is an amount owed to another individual or entity. So debt is when you owe money to the bank. Bank loan is when, you know, you take loan from the bank and you owe it back to them. And mortgage is when you're paying off the money from your house and stuff like that. So a liability is a negative and something that you owe towards something or someone.
Yeah. So what is a hedge fund? A hedge fund is like an investment partnership where money is collected from private investors. And the goal of these funds are to show consumers huge returns. So big hedge funds, they're like very big, and they have lots of mathematicians, astronomers, you know, physicians, and they all use those resources to invest in the best stock. So what we do at ThinkSabio essentially is to follow the hedge funds, follow the financial institutions, and we just kind of see where they're putting their money, and we just try to follow them. And a financial institution is also, it's similar to hedge funds. It's an investment partnership where money is collected from the public. And the goal of these funds are just to invest their money. So again, they also use these astronomers, these mathematicians, physicians, you know, scientists. They use all these type of various careers, and then they kind of figure out what stocks are going up, what stocks are going to go down. They kind of figure out, they use all their knowledge to just identify which are the right stocks, and we try to follow them as much as possible.
Credit and debit. So credit is the amount of money to a lender that's paid later with interest. So for example, if you have a credit card, it's when, you know, you swipe the card, it gets put down and you owe that money towards the credit card company. A debit is a total amount of money in losses from the money totally invested. So for example, again, if you have a debit card, you have a certain amount of money you can spend, and, you know, when you swipe the card, the money goes away from that. So that was more in a practical situation, but credit and debit is different in the stock market. So credit is the amount of money to a lender paid later, and debit is the total amount of money in losses from the money that you totally have invested.
Yeah. So we're just going to go over a couple of successful investors, you know, people who have gone through the stock market and made lots of money and have become very famous over the stock market. So one such guy is Ray Dalio. He started investing at the age of 12 years old, and he first started with $300, and he tripled immediately. So that's when he liked the stock market and kind of liked the method of money. And then he just became successful from the money he earned, and he's now the CIO for the largest hedge fund, and he has a net worth of around 15.7 billion, which makes him one of the most successful investors.
Yeah, so just a small tip on the side, if you work hard and you start from a young age, you can also do the same thing. And our second successful investor is Warren Buffett. So he started with cash from his newspaper route at the age of 11 when he was you know, giving out newspapers. He had a little bit of cash and he started with that. He started investing immediately, and by the time he was at age 15, with a few smart investments into certain stocks, he had a net worth of $6,000. And now, after many years, he's a lot older now. He's worth $119.4 billion, making most of it from the market and becoming one of the most richest people in the world.
Yeah. So what does this mean? This means that starting from a young age and using whatever money you have right now is definitely a good place to start. You don't need to start when you're old. You don't need to start when you have lots of money. It's just like you can start whenever when you're young, and starting at a young age is much better and will help you grow in the long run, because stocks, you know, especially long-term stocks, they take a long time to grow and you can't get quick results. So if you start at a young age and you start, you know, as soon as possible, then maybe in the future, like 20, 30 years down the road, they can multiply a lot. And it's just about hard work and determination, and the research can guide you in the right direction, but you just need to use the research in the right way. And this will just make you profitable in the end. And you should also be prepared for failures. You know, all stocks don't go up all the time. It's very fluctuating. The stock market is fluctuating. And you should know that you should have patience in order to truly be successful.
Yeah, and even if you don't have any money, then you can also start with a virtual portfolio and get the experience of how to invest, what are the failures and successes of investments, and you can start to get your own process of how you do things, right? Just like the way that in sport, you might not play in the actual game all the time. You might be playing in practice, right? And that's how you gain the experience and you gain the success or failure. Same thing that you would do in a virtual portfolio with paper money. And then by the time you go and you start spending in a real portfolio with real money, you'll know exactly what you have to do and you won't have to experience that success and failure with actual money.
All right, so here are some rules to remember. So every hedge fund institution has to report their transactions to the SEC up until 45 days after the end of the quarter. So obviously a lot of hedge funds and institutions, if you're a hedge fund or institution manager and you have to submit your data to the SEC, you don't want to submit it as quick as possible because then everyone can just go to the SEC and look up what stocks you invested in and they just copy you. So the thing is, a lot of these hedge funds and institutions, they wait exactly until the end mark, that 45 days, until they submit their data. And this is just a government rule, the SEC. It's just a SEC at the side, as it shows, Securities and Exchange Commission. So it's a governmental organization that collects information about the stock market. So any big financial hedge fund or institution, they have to submit their data to the SEC. And this is exactly what ThinkSabio uses. We use this data from the SEC and we put it into simple information and we kind of follow the leaders, exactly what the hedge fund managers and institutions are going through. And when a single person or organization buys 5% or above of a stock, then they are given 10 business days to report it to the SEC. For example, if Warren Buffett, right, if he buys 5% or above of Apple, then they have to report it within 10 business days to the SEC. And then we can use that stock knowledge and we can use that data. Say if many other people are buying that company, then we can kind of identify that, okay, then this might be a good stock to buy. And there's 5 different types of activity on a stock. Newly bought, which is when from quarter 1 to quarter 2, the next quarter, quarter 1, they didn't buy any shares, and in quarter 2, they newly bought it. The next one is increase, where you increase from quarter 1 to quarter 2. Next one is reduced, where you decrease the number of shares you own from quarter 1 to quarter 2, and no change, which is when you keep it the same. You keep the same number of shares. And the last one is sell off, where you completely sell off all your shares in the next quarter.
Yeah, so one thing about ThinkSabio is that, when you have money invested in either the real portfolio or virtual portfolio, when any of these updates come from the SEC, you are immediately notified through an email. And you can start to understand and use that information to either change your real portfolio or virtual portfolio or increase, reduce, whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Also, one more thing, you can also choose through ThinkSabio which institutions you like, which one you favor. For example, if you favor JP Morgan and Chase, then you can use that. You can kind of set an alert. So whenever JP Morgan and Chase goes into a specific stock or a specific institution or anything, you can kind of set an alert. So you can kind of be notified when they go into something. So you can kind of customize it to what you like to do.
So if any of you guys are wondering why do we follow the institutions instead of following our own instincts, so institutions have many people employed for them that actually do the research and do, as you said, mathematicians, astronomers, they do the research for us. So instead of us doing the hard work of, mapping out everything, we just follow the leaders of the community.
Yeah. So that should just wrap up, the slideshow for today. It's just we were just going over basic stocks, but so yeah, now we're just gonna go over how to set up an account in Fidelity. So if anyone doesn't have a stock account, you don't need to follow it right now, but you just follow the steps that we're using right now so you can set up an account. And there's also an account in Fidelity for kids under like teenagers. So if you're not at the age to set up an account, then there's also another way. Fidelity offers the good feature to set up an account if you're 13 to 18 years old.
So you're gonna go to the Fidelity website because Fidelity. Yeah, so you're gonna search up Fidelity account for kids because Fidelity allows for you to have an account from a younger age than any other company. We're gonna be using this because most of us are high schoolers that are learning here. So you're gonna go to stock trading, and you're gonna press open a brokerage account. So if you're a Fidelity customer, you would click yes, but if you're not, we click no. So we personally are not a Fidelity customer, so we click no. And then you're going to see opening account just takes a few minutes. You read the steps and you understand what you need to do. Then you'll press next. And then they'll ask for the details, ask for you to tell about yourself, your social security number, date of birth, and they'll ask for your address. Then you'll click next after you fill in all that information. And it'll be another simple step, and then you'll basically be able to start investing through linking your bank account and spending into the real market. Another way is also, as we said, you can invest in the virtual portfolio in ThinkSabio. So we're gonna walk you guys through how to make an account in ThinkSabio. Yeah, so you're gonna go to your browser. Since we're students and you get the free website, you're gonna search up ThinkSabio. Click login. So for me, I would log in, but because some of us don't have an account yet, I'm gonna walk you guys through how to create an account. You're gonna click create account. We're gonna say our name is John. Last name Doe. So we have an email for that. So you'll have use your student email. So jdoe for us in North Carolina, we'll be using jdoe at students.wcpss, which is our county. So you'll use your own school email, .net, or your personal email if that's what you guys use at school. We'll enter password. Just say you'll accept the terms and conditions. Make sure you remember your password. Click sign up. So then you'll go to your email and you'll click the inbox on the verification link, and it'll ask you for a few more information such as your date of birth and your country of residence. And that will be the process of signing up. So by the next time, we'll again walk through it in the beginning of the next session tomorrow. You'll sign up and then we'll walk you guys through the actual website. You guys can explore on your own as well while we're doing it.
Yeah, I would suggest, if you can, to explore on your own, see what ThinkSabio has to offer. If you can go through it and kind of understand the feature before, then the next session will be much more helpful. And you can kind of understand. It's also better if you kind of explore and understand what you kind of see. So you can kind of play around with that. And by next session, if you can make an account, that would be helpful. So you know what we're going over and you can kind of see beforehand. So if you can just make an account in ThinkSabio, it's free for all students. So just go make an account.
Yeah. So since Shiva gave the link, so what we can do is in the next 5 minutes, we can allow you guys to see if you can make an account. If you guys have any questions, just ask on the call so that it'll be a lot easier for us to help you guys.
Yeah. So now I think we can just wrap it up. If you guys don't want to sign up, or if you guys already have an account, you guys can leave. I just want to say thank you everyone for joining. And if you guys have questions, you guys can stay back, but please use the link and sign up.
Yep. So stay on here for another like 5 minutes. And if you guys have any questions, just ask to unmute and we'll answer them.